you can read as much HR books and entrepreneurial books as you want. Hire slow, fire fast, and stuff like that. It's super easy knowing the rules by mind. But if you didn't experience yet, and you don't have the rules by heart, at least me, we had to learn it the hard way. We had to learn it the hard way.
Suggest not to customers but to your friends to move, like say, like Cyprus is a good place to move and come live here.
I think it's the best place to go in Europe. Looking back, it's hard for me to imagine when somebody would tell me 8 o'clock in the morning, this place every day. Yeah. Because I had this mindset, only big companies need my skill, but that's not true. And I learned it by luck because I didn't quit because of I want to be entrepreneur. I quit because I want to travel.
Welcome to our podcast. Our podcast is called Mind My Business. It's a podcast where we bring entrepreneurs and we talk everything and anything that has to do with entrepreneurship. The main goal of the podcast is for someone who is viewing this to learn something. Maybe they want to start their own thing, or maybe they already have their own thing and they see your perspective, your story, and get at least some kind of help to what they are doing and basically be more informative about everything. Maybe even meet you. Like one thing that we had a viewer, he was like saying, do you want to arrange a meetup with all the guests? I would be very happy to come and meet them in person.
Great.
Yeah. So that's me talking. So this is the most talk that I will do. So now it will be up to you.
Yes.
Yes. So again, welcome. And do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and where you come from, what do you do, and all this kind of stuff?
Sure. I'm Michael Wohlfart. I'm from Germany, living in Cyprus since 2019. I left Germany 2018. I'm a German certified tax advisor, which is comparable like a CPA or a lawyer focusing on international tax law. I've been working for big firms before, like PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. We also have them here in Pavos. And I started my journey as being an entrepreneur with leaving Germany. So we left, me and my wife, because we wanted to travel, see the world. And 6 weeks of holiday isn't enough for really traveling. That was the main goal.
Okay.
And then after a few months, we were thinking about, okay, how to earn money? Because before we've just been employees. And I'm good at what I'm doing. So one and one came together and I started my own business and built it to where it is today. 4 companies, 20 people, 3 million revenue. It was quite a fun journey. Moving abroad, living in Cyprus, new country, while in the beginning traveling a lot. We've been traveling 6, 7, 8 months a year. We spent this year, 2026, is the first winter we spent in Cyprus. Okay. All winter before we spent in Asia or because of Corona in Mexico. Okay. So Cyprus in January, February. Still nice, but it's not as nice as in March or May when we have sun all the time. Yeah. So I'm following the sun.
I bet you are also used to the summer as well here now, or you don't? Do you spend summers here?
Yeah. Summer 4 weeks I'm gone. So I like to go at least once to the Alps or something like that to get a small recovery because heat's brutal in Cyprus, and it's okay, but have a small reset of a few weeks is kind of helping to survive June to September, 30 degrees plus. But I can tell, year by year, I'm getting more adapted. So year by year, the summer is getting more relaxed and the winters are getting more cold.
Getting acclimatized to the Cyprus weather.
For sure.
Do you want to tell us a bit more, like first of all, how was your work back then when you were working 9 to 5, like having all the company PwC? I'm pretty sure there, you have a lot of policies, a lot of things to follow and things like that. How was your work life?
It's crazy looking back, honestly. It's crazy looking back because it's been until 2018. I started working in 2010. So there was no home office, there was no remote work, and even I started 1 year after the financial crisis, 2008, 2009. So I was quite lucky because starting 1 or 2 years earlier was really hard getting a job after coming out of university with I have a diploma, which is kind of a master's degree in economics. And in the beginning, I think, in the beginning, everyone was wearing suit and even tie. Every day besides Friday. We had casual Friday, and the only casual thing was getting rid of the fucking tie. But this changed so fast till today. I think, at least in Germany, I think US is a little bit different, but in Europe, Germany, it's rather rare to see people in suits and no ties. You don't see ties anymore. Yeah. I didn't wear a tie I wear it twice a year on a wedding and a funeral.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, I think, one thing. So it got more relaxed. So, and everything got more open. And by then it was, it wasn't 9 to 5, it was more, because Big Four and stuff like, you work a little bit more. Also, getting the certified tax advisor in Germany is kind of a second university degree. You learn 1.5 years full-time on the degree while working full-time. So I was rather going to office at 7 in the morning, leaving at 7 in the evening. 2 hours of learning, rest working, but learning a lot. And I think the good thing with working in big companies, and I worked in different situations. I've been to Lidl, you know Lidl in Cyprus. I've been to the headquarters in Germany. And that's crazy. Like, Lidl is a huge company. It's probably one of the biggest in Europe. And we had 120 tax advisor. So just to get a relation, and I've been one of them working there.
Okay.
And you learn how to work when you've been to big companies, and that's a really big asset. That's what I'm seeing when we employ people from rather small companies, or when you work with freelancers who never had this experience with having those guidelines, regulations, being there at this time and stuff like that. So it's really good having this background. On the other side, I really enjoy that there is nobody telling me that I have to be at this place every day at 8 in the morning and be there till 6 in the afternoon. I still have the same work, the same workload. It's even more duties, but I can do it rather flexible. I can work on the weekend when I say I have a half day off during the week, stuff like that. So and looking back, it's hard for me to imagine when somebody would tell me 8 o'clock in the morning, this place every day.
Yeah. Okay.
But you need it. I see it in my company now. We the last 2 years we applied way more regulations than before.
Okay, I see. Was it what you were expecting when you finished studies? So was it close to what you expect?
I think so. Yeah. Because you know how Big Four is working. When you study economics, you make internships, they come to the university, people tell how life is there, and you kind of expect in the beginning being totally on the bottom and have to work your ass up to come to the top. But that's also what I learned, that I don't want to be a partner at the Big Four. It's not worth it, because it's it seems like a goal, but being a partner in such a big company, you're still more or less an employee. You're not your own boss. You have to follow it. As far as I remember, the goal was 3 million in revenue per partner, at least in Texas. Other departments are even more. If you don't get that in at least 1, 2, 3 years in a row, they fire you. It's as it is. Yeah. So it's more like getting paid a little bit more, or a lot more, I would say. I think they earn 300,000 to 500,000, but it's for the pain you have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of understood pretty fast that that's not my way. And then the last 2 years, I've been to a rather small office. So we've only been 40 people. So I had way more responsibilities, and got kind of the other part of being, because you don't learn to be entrepreneur in the Big Four. You learn to be a employee who's working in the system and really doing what he's getting told. And in the small firm, I learned what it is to be entrepreneur. We just had one owner, and we had 3 to 4 offices, so he wasn't in the office every day. So you had to take care, and I had to take care of the office with 20 people that is running.
Yeah.
And so I learned both sides, and then I took both together and became an entrepreneur myself.
Do you think then, if you're working in a place like this, the Big Four, would you say your opportunities are more limited than if you are in a smaller business, or you still have?
No, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
I think if you manage to get into a company like that, because it's not easy. Nowadays, it's getting easier because it's hard for them to find people who are willing to work so much. But the first thing is getting into these companies. And as the harder it is to getting into these companies, and when you think about the big tier law firms in the world, it's super hard to get into these companies. This alone gives you kind of a value, because you really learn how to work. It's a very specific topic you are working on. It's super narrow. So compared to the tax law in Germany, I did a super small topic, but I was expert in this one. And when you learn to become expert in one thing, you can become expert in the other things, because you learn how to become that one. So that's the difference. When you're in a small firm, you do everything, but you can't do anything good. So in Germany, we call it Wald- und Wiesenberater, which means kind of forest and grass consultant. Or the other thing is you kind of work with only small businesses, so you only know how this is working and not how really big business is working. So it's kind of a not nice saying, but the core of the saying is, when you try to know everything as a lawyer, as a tax consultant, you're not good at one thing. So in the Big Four, you learn how to work and you learn how to become really good at one thing. And so this is, I think, even better than starting in a small firm. The switch you have to make is, and that's what I kind of learned by luck, that there is a world out there besides Big Four and big corporations where you can also survive, where you're also well at. Because I was thinking, I was only working for Apple, for Siemens, Siemens in Egypt, Apple in Ireland, stuff like that. What should I do when I'm self-employed, when I'm entrepreneur? Who wants to work with me? Because I had this mindset, only big companies need my skill, but that's not true. And I learned it by luck, because I didn't quit because of I want to be entrepreneur. I quit because I want to travel. And while traveling, I learned there's so many entrepreneurs, small-sized entrepreneurs, who need this very special knowledge in international taxes. And I had all the equipment to serve them. And they are paying the same hourly rates. It's just that the main difference is, that's why it's harder to earn money. Big Four, you sell one contract, you sell one work task for 100K. Small companies, it's just 10K. So you need 10 clients. And it's more working in marketing. And that's the thing you really have to learn. Marketing, sales, to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But I think with the skill set, I think it's really good. You really have to make the switch in the head and then be willing to learn from scratch again, because you only have a small topic where you're really expert, and then when you're broadening your expertise, you have to learn some more stuff, but you know how to learn it. So try it. That's kind of my biggest learning. And I think that's a big advantage than somebody starting in a small office, because they kind of do everything, but not on a high level, and they are not becoming a super good expert in a certain thing. And I think in AI times, this is getting even more important. The top tier people will survive longest.
Okay, nice. So then, okay, let's go now talk about then the business that you built. So switching from working from someone else to switching to work for yourself. First of all, when did you start? When did you go? Like
2018.
2018. So you go on your. It's like, but not on your own, with a partner, right? So you start together.
The first year I've been alone, and then I learned I don't want to be alone. I'm I'm not able. Let's say I'm not willing to do all the stuff which has to be done in a smaller company, like tax declaration. I hate it. I find it boring. But there are other people who love it. I'm good at selling the entrepreneur the tax declaration. I'm good at consulting the entrepreneur for the perfect tax strategy. But then somebody has to implement it and declare it to the tax department. So this was the match. I'm doing the selling and the strategy. My partner did rather the compliance stuff.
Okay. So you find him 1 year after you started.
Yeah, kind of.
How did you know him from before, or
No?
You
we met online.
you met online. Okay.
It's a super funny story. There was everything was kind of in the beginning in this online marketing, especially taxes. It's not the most sexy field, and there's not so much marketing going on. So there wasn't a lot. There was one journalist doing a tax blog in Germany, and he had a format asking 10 questions to tax advisor. I did some marketing. I started pretty early with some marketing, and it was super fast, super successful because there was not much competition. And I had this interview with him, 10 questions. Christopher, my partner, was reading it. My goal was finding other tax advisor who were starting from scratch in my age, so 30 to 40. It's super rare. Normally, either you buy shares in a smaller office or you're employed. But starting from scratch without clients, without employees is super, super rare because it's a rather boring, rather a non-risk field. And I found, and the target was finding a kind of a mastermind, finding people to connect and stuff like that. We've been 4. And with Christopher was one of them, and we matched. We met a few times. We started working kind of on a contractual basis 1 year, and then we found a limited or a cooperation GmbH in Germany. Yes.
How important do you think it's like to finding the right partner, and what do you think are some indicators to know if someone is the right person to work with?
I think it's not really important. I think the first step is, and that you should really, really, really think about is, do you really want a partner? Are you a person who is willing and able working in an equal partnership? Because normally I always recommend consult to having super clear agreements. And when one has 100% and the other one is the employee, it's a super clear agreement. But when you are 50-50, it's super hard. And you need really and basically everything depends that you're talking to each other. When you're 3, it's even worse. When you're 5, 4, 6, it's even worse. Until 3, maybe it's manageable, but I think if you're more, and that's a big thing in Germany because often these partnerships are way more people, you need to find a ruling agreement that the company is always operational, even if everybody's fighting with each other, which you very, very often see. And with 2 people, it's okayish, and then, but you still have to really manage. And so personality first. Really, do you get along with the person? Do you like the person? Are you willing or happy that the person is earning the same like you are? Because it's not always equal. The other one is working more, the hourly rate of the other one is more, and stuff like that. Especially I think maybe it's easier if both are exactly doing the same. But then the question is, why do you have a partnership? If both are exactly doing the same, the only reason to have a partnership is to share some administrative costs, to have one marketing instead of 2, 3, 4. But then you can also do it on a different scale of partnership. And like us, it's kind of we were matching. I did one part and where I'm good, and he did his part where he's good at. So this was the second thing, personality. And I think that was the main reason we kind of got along with each other. And then it's like a marriage. You have to work with it. We had coachings. We still have a coach. We kind of go every now and then to coachings. Depends on the situation. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But you have to talk. Talk as much as possible. Like you have to work on the partnership, like on a marriage, kind of on a daily basis, and then you get along.
So by now it's been like 8 years, right? So
Yes.
you know pretty well each other, right? So
Yes.
it's like, yeah. Is he in Cyprus as well, or
No,
he's in Germany? Okay.
Yeah, that was also part of until I think 2023 or 4. Law isn't easy, especially in Germany. I wasn't allowed to have a Cyprus Limited, which is also allowed to do tax consultancy in Germany. Now it's allowed, and I have one. But in this time, I wasn't allowed to do it with a limited from Cyprus. I needed a German company. So we set the company up in Germany. We have now 2 companies because of risk reasons. We separated the business model in 2 companies. And they are both in Bonn, where my partner is living, and he's the CEO of the companies.
Okay. In the questions that we sent, you said that one moment was like when you had to give off some of your work to others. You know, how did it happen that you ended up giving your work? Because it's very, like we all tend to keep everything to ourselves until we do. Like, when was the moment that you said, like, okay, now I need to give work out, and then you separate yourself from the work?
Yeah. So we're 20 people now, and I have to give away work. And I think as entrepreneur in the beginning, and I think I made 2 major steps. In the beginning, as entrepreneur, you want to control everything because you have, at least us, we have very high standards. One of our core values is excellence. So we want to deliver excellence. So if, at least in my area in international taxes, we do a consultancy, I'm the best. But I can do all the clients because then I'm 24/7 working on clients. So this is the first step to really getting the trust and finding the right people to give away the work. And in consultancy, honestly, is the last step where I got away the work. In the first step was getting an assistant to do all the easy stuff. And the second step was getting kind of specialized assistants. We are now having a head of marketing. We're having a head of sales. We're having a head of office management. We're having a head of HR and recruiting. All 4 I am leading because I'm doing all the entrepreneurial stuff, and my partner is doing all the tech stuff. So we divided the company like this. And this is the kind of working setup right now. So we have specialists in the fields. Right now I'm on the position I can't do the work anymore. I don't know how on LinkedIn my head of recruiting is doing the recruiting. How she's finding the people, what messages she's sending. I'm just getting in applications. And so it's kind of necessary to give away the easy work, the work you're not good at. And then, because I'm thinking very entrepreneurial, and I always made the example, there is kind of, let's say 3 hourly rates I'm working in. I have my hourly rate, English. I have the money what I'm getting paid for per hour, which is around 400-500 euros. And this I could earn when I'm selling my consultancy. And there below, then there's bullshit work, which I call it. Bullshit work is where the reward is less than the 400-500 euros an hour. So it's like, I don't know, photocopying the bill I got when I was at the gas station to put it in my accounting. I'm not doing this. I'm giving the bills to my assistant. So this easy stuff, which kind of other people can do who are not having those high skills to get even 400-500 euros an hour. And then, as entrepreneur, I think you have to work in an area which makes even way more value to the company. And this is, in my opinion, mainly strategy, which is not so much. So you don't have to work on the company strategy, on the vision and stuff like that for 20 hours a week. It's enough if you do it on a yearly basis and then regularly reflect it and stuff like that. But I am standing in front of when we have, for example, we are meeting twice a year with the whole team because we're fully remote. And then in the meeting, I always have the keynote. And the keynote is teaching or getting our people, our core values, getting them motivated, telling them why we are here, where we want to be. So in this 1 or 2 hours, if I manage to fire them all up and work 10% more for the next 6 months, in these 2 hours, what is my hourly rate? 10,000 euros? 20,000 euros? This is where you should work most of the time as entrepreneur. Strategy is the first thing. Second thing is very likely recruiting and HR, which is people are the most important in a people's business like us. We're an agency, we're selling hours, we're selling services. So really setting up a nice HR process, talking to the core people monthly and stuff like that, taking care that you have a structure, that your team leads are talking regularly to their employees and stuff like that. That's also nothing I'm doing 20 hours a week. I'm setting up the structure once, and then I'm kind of reviewing, observing it. Now I have somebody who's responsible for it, but she's asking me for the big questions. And the third thing is, and I think that's the most time consuming, is marketing. And that's what I mainly did. Kind of podcasts. We have, I think in the beginning, I didn't want to do videos. The first 2-3 years. Looking back, I should have started right away with videos because videos give the most trust to people. But I did a huge blog. I was writing 200,000 of words for our blog, SEO, SEO, which is not so, which is kind of getting harder now in AI times. So because people are not coming to your website anymore. But if you ask for the best international tax advisor in Germany for moving abroad, my focus in this international taxes is a focus, but I'm specialized within this focus on entrepreneurs leaving Germany, going to Dubai, going to Cyprus, going to Spain, Italy, Paraguay, whatever. And if you ask ChatGPT for one of the best tax consultancy firms in this field, we are mentioned. So this helps a lot. But to be there, we are only there because of the blog we are having, which is 6-7 years old. So before AI times. And then we started doing videos. Videos is way more time consuming. And it's in the beginning, it's hard talking in front of the camera and having the trust that you have something to tell people want to hear. Just start. And I think when you're selling a service, if you're an agency, that's the best thing you can do, because, or even a podcast is maybe even better. That's why we are starting now a podcast. That's why we are so happy that you have the studio here. Because imagine you watched 3 videos of 10 minutes with me, you see my face, you hear my voice. It's kind of, you know me a little bit. And then you say, okay, do I want a consultancy from this person? I heard how he's talking. I heard what he's saying. Is it kind of stuff he's mentioning, recommending, which I want for myself? That's already really good. Imagine somebody was listening 5 hours to your podcast. He's knowing your story. He's knowing your voice so well. When maybe you already had it in your life. When you meet somebody like that, you already had listened to hours of the voice. You think he's a friend. You think you know him. You really want to work with him.
I never had it, but I know what you mean, because I know, like, from other podcasts that I see, like, even with actors, when you see them in movies and things like that, you start to feel like they are your friends and you're easier with them, so you're not stressed when you speak. And so I totally get what you mean. And then the other question that I wanted to ask you, like, based on the previous question as well, like, for you, what was harder, like building the business or letting this stuff go, and
letting go
was harder?
I mentioned 2 steps. The first step was kind of building a team and giving work to the team, but you had to give them the work, and there's either control or trust. And 100% control is stupid because then the people stop thinking and feel like kids. 100% of trust is super hard because people misuse it. So there has to have to find a way in the middle. I am telling my people I want the trust way, but to a certain point I have to control. So we have monthly milestones. But they decide what they are doing. They decide, okay, 1, 2, 3, maximum 3, 1 is enough. Saying, this is my focus for this month. Head of marketing, you want to launch your podcast in June. So my focus in June is getting the launch done. Having the daily work and everything else, all the other projects, they can wait. And that's totally fine because this is the most important project. But she's deciding what is the most important project. And early July or the beginning July, she's telling me how far she got. So it's kind of a lot of trust, a little bit control. And depending on the people you're working with, it's also a seniority thing. That's why I said if people who had worked in a corporation know how to work, it's easier working with them. The thing is, we are fully remote. We are not getting people from the university because they don't have the skills and don't know how to work. When you're coming from a university, I highly recommend go to a local office for a few years. Learn how to work. And then when you have, even if you want to be self-employed, and then become self-employed, because otherwise you're lacking fully the structure when you've never learned it. So that's the first step. And the second step of letting go is really letting go. Really trusting the flow of life, accepting that maybe it's only 80% what you're getting. Because in most of the cases, it is only 80%, but it is 80% because 100% is a fully subjective imagination. Or it's only you think the email on my newsletter has to be exactly like this. That's for you 100%. For my head of marketing, the email is 100% in a different shape. Different wording, different links, different stuff. For her, it's 100%, but for me, it's only 80%. And this is kind of the process I'm right now. I'm since a few months that I'm saying I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine in trusting because she's the expert in marketing. I'm not trusting what she's doing in the speed she's doing, in the time she's doing. I don't know if she starts working at 9 or at 11. But I need the output. I want to see that the email is going out. I want to see if it's performing and stuff like that. And just letting go and not just telling trust, feeling the trust. And then being fine with 80%. And because this gives me the freedom to work on the stuff I want to work and produce and make a podcast is the best example. Because the podcast is taking me 1 to 2 work days a week. And besides all the other little stuff I have, there's no other way than trust my heads and people. Because when I want to control them, we have a daily meeting at 9 in the morning, and we have a daily meeting at 7 in the evening, or at 5 in the evening. And in the morning I ask, what are you doing today? In the evening I ask, what did you do today? It's like in an office. In former days, you did see the people coming, you did see the people leaving. You don't have this control in a remote setup. So you either apply daily meetings or you go and trust. And in total, I would say I'm happy because maybe that also means I'm just receiving 80% of the profit. Compared to 100%, I could do when I spend more 20 hours a week more on controlling the people. But I think it's more about really letting go. It's not with every person, and especially not in the first 6 months. First 6 months, be really close, decide if it's working together for the future, and then give trust, and then let it go. And I think it's kind of a narrative I'm having. Maybe my company is exploding in a year.
Yeah, but for now it worked, right? So.
But it's kind of also a transition situation because we're having this big shift now in the company. Before, me and my partner, we were kind of, I think he was responsible for Kanzlei management, for the office management, and I was responsible for marketing and sales. And we have an employee CEO. He was responsible for HR and marketing, and all three of us were responsible of one part of the consultancy. I did international consultancy or strategies, my partner national, and the CEO did the compliance work. And now we switched that I gave all the lead, because I'm still in the back. I would say I'm off counsel. I'm consulting internally our people, how they should consult clients. So I'm out of consultancy, client work. You've already heard with my example that I say my impact is even more if I'm working on the company instead of selling hours. And that's kind of selling hours. I did it maybe too much, too long. I had kind of days with 5 client meetings and then days in a row. So I'm kind of, I wouldn't say burned out. It's just, I find it just boring. Because for me, it's like, it's super easy stuff I'm talking about. For the client, it's super amazing and wow, ultra complicated. But I had calls, 3 calls a day where I was talking about the same topic. And with 2, I was talking about exactly the same. And in the evening, I didn't know who was telling what. Because it was kind of like a song I was singing. And yeah. And I think strategy and stuff like that is kind of, it's more creative. It's more my style, because I'm more the visionary and my partner is more the employer or the person doing operations is really good word. And yeah, and that's the switch is that we made, it's kind of, because it's rare for a tax firm, for a law firm, having really somebody who's kind of only responsible for the entrepreneurial side. Because with this one, we are a real company. So when I'm building the fundament, the basics, it's easy to double the size of people, because we already have the back office, we have the marketing, we have the sales, we have the HR, we have the recruiting. We could easily double, because we're a company now. We don't have to double the persons on the top, the partners. And for me, actually, it doesn't make a difference anymore if we're a tax firm, or if we're e-commerce consultants, or if we, I don't know, an IT firm. The stuff I'm doing is not really depending on what we are doing.
Okay. So you kind of switched completely to work on your business and develop the business.
I did it before. That was my main responsibility. But now we have it super clear in the structure. Everybody knows his function, and that's kind of the switch we made, because that's also a switch based on where our strengths are.
Nice. So how long, did you start being fully remote from the beginning since you started hiring, or you had an office and then you switched? COVID,
where have been? I think I've been in Bali, when I got my first client in September 2018, when I sent my first invoice. Okay. I've not been in Germany. I remember January 2019, I've been in Thailand. In the beginning, I always worked in the co-working spaces, because internet by then wasn't good enough for online work. And in the co-working spaces, they took care that the internet is good. I think I worked 50, 60 hours a week. And then kind of after 5 days, I realized, I didn't see the sea since 5 days, and it's just 200 meters behind the palms. But the nice thing is, when you're working 10 hours, and then in the evening, in January, in Germany, cold, dark, and rainy, and you just go home to your flat. And in Thailand, you go for a walk at the beach and have your feet in the water. Stress is totally going away in a second, and that's the big difference for me. And but this was one of the big challenges in the beginning, because I had the time difference. I had to take care of a proper setup, like internet, like laptop, like screens. I always have a second screen with me. It was harder. So I by choice, I took the harder way to build a company, because it was, if I would have been with my partner in Germany, in Bonn, in the same office, it would have been way easier. But I was living in Thailand, in Bali, Cyprus and stuff like that. It was a choice. So it was kind of, I wanted it all.
Okay, nice.
It was harder, but it was worth it.
Nice. Okay. So you mentioned like if someone finished university, not to go like to remote work, right? Like work somewhere locally first, go to the office. Like, did you have any experiences with this kind of thing, or is it something that you know and you see?
We made all the mistakes you could make in hiring people. And I was hiring somebody with a bachelor's degree in economics. She did even some tax focus. And she was also flying for an airline as stewardess. And yeah, she was allowed to, because we have a small office in Bonn. And we're switching now. We were getting a bigger office, so we can put 10, 15 people there, but we are more than 10, 15 people. And honestly, we're switching more, getting away from a remote, having a team more locally in Bonn. And if I would find a tax advisor who wants to move to Cyprus, shout out, call me. I'm opening an office here in Paphos.
Okay.
But because I'm also already having 2 employees in Paphos, but if I'm opening an office, I'm more the visionary. I don't want to be the office boss. I don't want to be the person responsible for the office, for the people there. So if I find somebody like that, I totally go for an office in Paphos. In Bonn, I have that because our CEO is there, my partner is there. They manage the office. So we make it bigger. And I think it totally depends what you're doing. We're getting a little bit away from the question, but I'm coming back. Super easy is working with people remote who have a good education, like our accountants, which are not certified tax advisor, but they learned it. It's kind of 3 years of learning it, and they all have years of work, 5, 10, 15 years. They totally know what they are doing. So it's enough for them. If they have questions, they do a quick call to the tax advisor, but that's 2-3 times a week. They know where to find the answers. They know how to work. They are working on clients. So they have their clients and they have their revenue targets. It's 3 times the gross salary. It's easy to reach with our setup. And so we know that they are working and bringing the revenue. And the quality is easy for us to control because we have, how is it called in English? That 4I principle. It's the principle in that always somebody is checking your work. And it's always a certified tax advisor. Double check, yeah. So for all those people, and that's the majority we're having, it's super easy having them in a remote setup. The second part is the tax advisor. And the first part, the accounting people, it's legally not really easy to be self-employed in Germany, to be a sole proprietor. And that's why they normally are all employed. So it's easy to keep them. They are working. They are happy that they are working at home. They're really good, getting a really good salary and stuff like that. That's kind of easy. The second part is the tax advisor. And for them, it's really a personality thing. Because as tax advisor, it's pretty easy to be your own boss, to open your own firm. Earning money is the second thing. That's super hard. And I think but if you have that in mind, you have to try it. And then you learn, oh, fuck, I have to do marketing. I have to do sales. I have to find clients. Oh, recruiting is even harder. And then a lot of them are going back into employment. But if you have to feel stuff to understand stuff. And for them, it's more important that we are close to them, that we are talking a lot to them, that they are super happy with us. We try to pay them so much money that it's not worth for them to being self-employed. And for them, I think it's better having them in the office because to have a really close connection, or at least talk to them 3-4 times a week. And then the third part is the people I was already talking about, marketing, HR, and stuff like that. You can't really, that's only working with trust, 100%, because you don't know if somebody is working 1 hour or 8 hours a day, because you can't control it. You don't know how to control the output. If somebody is writing an email, there are people writing it in 5 minutes, there are people that need 30 minutes. So imagine she's only doing emails the whole day because doing a funnel or something like that. Some people are doing it in a day. Other people are needing 3 days for the same funnel. So how should I know if she's really working the whole day? It's only working with trust. And because there's a lot of communication important, and I think if such teams are in an office, it's working easier. And that's why we also kind of getting a new office, getting it bigger, and getting this team rather locally. I think because then they are talking every day and they need to talk a lot, and it's very easier if you're in an office. So it really depends on the position. Why is Amazon and Google and Co. getting the people back to the office? It's because of the connections between the people. And we have our monthly calls, we have our weekly calls, we have our vacation in Cyprus. All the people are coming to Cyprus for a week. We are meeting once a year, a full week in Germany, but still there's 50 more weeks where they're at home. And I think that's why having an office is nice and having all together. But for me, it was a decision. Now since the last 2-3 years, I'm kind of based in Cyprus. I have my office at home and stuff like that. So having an office here is an option. Before that, I was traveling 9 months a year. So there wasn't an option for an office. That said, for somebody, and you've already seen, they all have skills. They are all educated. But if you're coming from university, I think first, structure is amazing, especially it depends on the university you've been. But when you've been on a kind of a real university, an open university, nobody cares if you're going to classes. Nobody cares how long you take. Nobody cares if you're doing 1 or 20 exams semester. Nobody cares if you're learning 1 hour or 50 hours. So if you're not really motivated, how should they don't know how to work? Maybe not all of them, but then somebody starting at 9 in the morning, working till 6 every day, but there's nobody watching you. It's hard. And the second thing, and this is even more important, sitting next to each other and showing something on the screen is look, click here, click. It's way easier. You can do that in online calls, but then for every small, and it's thousands of small things they have to learn. So you need thousands of small calls.
Yes.
And those small calls, when you're sitting in the same office, just come over, walking to the door and asking one question. Normally you're not hopping for one question to a call. Or you really have to get in this rhythm, call. That's the total rule bones with us. If there's everything which is getting on a personal level, which is not 100% fact-based, only call. Never write something which is on a personal level. And don't hesitate. And we have kind of a core work time, which is only 9:30 to 4:30, super small. But we have this rather small core work time, Friday till 1 o'clock, that we know I'm checking the calendar of the person. Okay, no meeting, I can call. And that's kind of important. But I think it's not working if you have if you really need to learn those 1,000 small things. And that's what I underestimated when I employed somebody from university. And even that's why I told you that she worked at an airline. Monday morning, we have our show fix. I don't get her. 30 minutes later, I'm searching for internet. I was flying spontaneously yesterday to Mexico, and I'm not finding a hotspot for good internet. I've been to the same place a year before. I could have told her that it's super hard getting internet there. But for me, being there is totally fine. Because if I'm not getting the work done at 8, I'm doing it at 10. And I'm not hopping to the client's call at 8. And I'm losing the client, I'm losing the revenue, I'm not earning money. She wants her salary. So it's not fine that she just went there. We didn't have rules which said, no, that's not okay. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect somebody doing that. Consequence, now we have a rule. If you want to work abroad, you need a permission. Okay. And that's kind of, nice. That's what I said. And I think the funny thing is, you can read as much HR books and entrepreneurial books as you want. Hire, slow, fire, fast, and stuff like that. it's super easy knowing the rules by mind. But if you didn't experience yet and you don't have the rules by heart, at least me, we had to learn it the hard way. We had to learn it the hard way, and being more. And I think one thing we really kind of have to take care that we are not going the other way, having too much rules, too much regulation, because the people we are having, they are following rules. We don't need to write them down. They know how to do it. The rules are for new people coming to the company, because every new person is changing your company. Yeah. And when somebody new is coming, and this new person decides that every Monday at 1:00 she's stopping work, and she's doing it for 3 months, and we don't say no, then at month 4, somebody from the old people is also starting that. So that's why rules are for new people. And we have to kind of take care or find the middle way, that we are not taking away rights from our current people, which we actually trust. Yeah, but you never learn, you never stop learning.
That's really good stuff so far. Yes, nice. Could you tell us a few milestones that you've reached where made you happy? Like what were maybe hiring 10 people or maybe reaching revenue? Like what were some milestones that, stood out for you?
I think the most important milestone was hiring our first certified tax advisor. He's now our co-CEO, because people like that are earning around, they're starting with 75, 80K a year, which is quite a lot. And before that, all the other people are earning way less. So it kind of the risk employing somebody with lower salary is kind of not. So we were kind of really, it was a big step for us. Really taking decision, yes, it's time to get somebody on our level, somebody we can really give responsibilities. Looking back, it was the best thing we ever did, because that was actually the step from being 2 self-employed guys, kind of having a company together, yes, but everyone having 2-3 employees, yes, but it's kind of, it wasn't we weren't entrepreneurs yet. And then doing the step, getting somebody on our level and giving him part of our work was the most important step, and I highly recommend it. Because that's actually the step where we really could start scaling, because he has now 6 employees. We couldn't handle it without him. So having actually this management level in between, I think that was the hardest part, and one of the hardest decisions, but one of the most valuable decisions. And for me personally, the second step is, but this is an ongoing process since 2-3 years, really saying no to consulting, because when I do consulting, I could do 10K more a month, easy. But I have to work for it. And no to consulting, meaning also no to more growth. So we are kind of in both companies around 3 million in revenue. And we could go to 5 in the next 3-4 years. But why? It's just more money. Does it make me more happy? Very likely not. I'm earning 3 times more than I'm spending. Why should I earn more? I earned kind of enough that it's enough till the end of my life if I'm doing a very low scale life, but I don't need new shirts anymore when I'm not tax advisor anymore. I can wear the same T-shirt for 20 years. So that's the thing,
Yes.
When you consider this question, when do I have enough money to I don't need this lifestyle when I'm not working. I don't need, easy thing, AC when I'm not working. But if I'm working, I need AC, otherwise I'm dying. If I'm not having AC, I'm lying around in a hammock and I'm fine. So I can have an easier life. That's what I mean. And really understanding, not chasing any money goals, because it's only ego. It's only for, he's such a big company and he's so successful. Fuck success. It's time which really is important. And this decision gives me time because, like I said, I could make 10K more a month, but I have to work, I don't know, 30 hours more a month. And I can spend 30 hours in Cyprus. So much to do. Lying on the beach, go hiking, reading books. And that's the second thing which kind of freezing this level and working on having happier employees every day, having happier clients. And the result is having happier clients, happier employees, less work for me because they are just happy doing the job, doing it really nice. And kind of, this is my main target right now, getting this transformation and making me day by day less necessary in the company, transferring my knowledge and being a mentor, helping them, having better lives. And that's kind of giving me way more than $10 more tomorrow.
Next question is tax in Germany and why a lot of people should, you said that you specialize in advising people to, like, when they leave, when they want to go somewhere else. Tell us a bit more, like, what are someone who doesn't know what they are missing and they stay in Germany and they're being taxed in Germany. Can you say like a word that they are missing out there? So, like a life that they could have.
If you just look at tax-wise, it's kind of, I'm always saying I'm tax supervisor and I'm having 80% of my gross profit as net in my pocket. And this is amazing from a German perspective. In Germany, if you're just going with a sole proprietorship, you're around 45% for taxes and social insurance. 45%. And in Cyprus, it's 15 for non-dom. I think for locals, it changed this year, so you're paying 12% less, so it's even nice for locals. But 15% to 45% is a huge shift. And when I would say
that's on dividends, right?
No, that's in total.
Like
I mean the total tax rate if you want all your money on the private level. And in Germany, there is a huge industry regarding tax optimization. You can do a little bit in Germany, but it's not more. You can't reduce it more than 3, 4, 5% legally. It's not possible. And the problem with small and medium-sized businesses, we are not Apple, we are not Siemens, we are not Lufthansa. Lufthansa is having on Malta the finance company buying or leasing the jets and leasing it to the German company so the profits are shifted to Malta. Apple, Starbucks, Google, they are in Ireland, 12.5%. They are in Luxembourg. Why? Because it's low taxes. So they are shifting the profits from Germany to Ireland. Procter & Gamble is in Geneva in Switzerland with the European headquarters. That's why so many very skilled people from whole Europe are moving to Ireland, moving to Switzerland, because they need the substance. They need those guys doing the decisions, the entrepreneurial stuff I am doing in those countries. And then it's legal that, for example, Procter & Gamble is selling the Braun shaver or Gillette stuff.
Yeah, the shaving kit, yeah.
Saving it just with sales companies, and the sales company is doing 2% of the revenue and profit. And the whole company, the whole Procter & Gamble is doing 20% of profit. But not in Germany, where they are selling it. Yeah. That's the game of the big ones. We can be part of the game of the big ones, the small, medium-sized companies. But we can move. And if you are willing to move, and this is not only Germany, that's why look around here. We also have a lot of Eastern Europe people. We have a lot of Scandinavian people. We have even Spanish people. We're not seeing so many French, but that's, I think, because they are not speaking so much English. Yeah. We have a lot of UK people.
Yes. Okay.
And they are all coming here because it's too much. Because being an entrepreneur does take also a huge amount of risks, and especially in AI times. I see so many, and as tax advisor, I see a lot. I see so many companies which are raising up, and after 2-3 years having 100K, 200K, maybe even 300K in profit a year, which is a lot of money. But after 3, 4, 5 years, they go bankrupt because they do a big mistake, or the business model is run out. Is in remote times, in AI times, it's so fast. So it's not like you're for sure earning for 40 years 200K a year. Then kind of you can accept 45% of taxes and stuff in Germany. But if you don't know how long your window is of opportunity, and you can decide 45% or 15%, and you are thinking about how could I make a fortune which is 1-2 million, so that I'm safe in the future, because you're not, if you're self-employed in Germany, you're normally not getting a pension because you're not paying in the system. But the system is, in Germany, the system is fuck. So you're paying in, but you're getting out way less than you paid in. And that's all the stuff which you are thinking about as entrepreneur. And then in a globalized world, I think why are so many people moving right now? Because they can. Because this remote work is only possible since 2014, 2016. Before that, you couldn't work abroad because no internet and stuff like that. And now you can. Also, the rules allow you moving in Europe. 100 years ago, you couldn't leave your country. And I think we would have had bigger numbers in the past, but now we can. So we do. And the second thing is the world is changing so fast. So you really have to consider not just earning money, but making a fortune which kind of gives you the security for you and your family to be safe for a bunch of years, which you have to take care yourself of when you're an entrepreneur. When you're working for the government, you don't care anything because you have your job for the next 50 years. And then the second thing is one word to international taxes. It's kind of harmonized, which is nice because we have double tax treaties and we have the OECD. OECD is in most countries, and for example, in Dubai, we now have 9% of corporate tax. It's not because Dubai needs money; it's because of the OECD likely told them in the back rooms, you're not allowed to do 0% anymore.
Okay, so it's like their way of saying.
Yes, but from a global or from an international perspective, it's kind of harmonized. We have the double tax treaties. So if you're moving, it's kind of legal. And if you're moving your whole company, it's kind of legal moving to Cyprus. It doesn't matter from which country you're coming. And because we have an international followership of people, you can go to Cyprus. But why Cyprus? Cyprus is the best setup in the European Union because 15%, 0% on dividends, 2.65% capped on 180K on for GESI, which is health insurance. So you are with a total burden for, it depends what you earn, around 17%, but you have health insurance, which is also worth something. There's also other countries like Malta, where you can go down, or one last thing to Cyprus. Cyprus has the clear ruling that it's enough to be here for 60 days. 60 days, rent a flat, have or pay social insurance, which you do because you have your limited. You get your salary, so minimum wage was around 1,000 something, and then you pay your 200-300 euros in the social insurance. And not being more than 180 days is in another country. It's super clear, it's super easy, and yeah, that's why the best setup in the European Union. There's some other countries which are tax-wise which are cheaper. For example, Malta, 5%. But you need 3 companies which cost you 20K a year. It's not super clear how long you have to stay there. I would recommend 120 days. It's a small island in Cyprus. So it's a decision. If you love Malta, go to Malta. If you're earning more than 200K a year, Malta is cheaper. But Cyprus is easier. And for smaller countries, it's cheaper. And then you have Bulgaria, with 10%, or Romania. They are getting more, or they're raising also the tax rates. Hungary, Poland, but
yes,
the thing is, you need to live there because you need substance. We need a permanent establishment, and that's kind of the basic rule in international taxes. You personally need substance. You need to have your residency somewhere, and your company. Normally, it's the same country, then it's easy. But if you're not having a permanent establishment, if you're just having a shelf company, it's really, really complicated, and it's kind of grayish area. And that's why Cyprus, and it's kind of has the best weather, and English is super easy, and bureaucracy is super relaxed. I've never okay, go to Germany. Did the tax department ever ask you for any bills? Did they come to your company and say, we need all files from you, and we want to have the last 3 years, we check everything now? Did it ever happen to you or any of your friends?
No, not that I know of.
In Germany, it's the rule. It's happening to anyone. It costs you time, no ending. And kind of in Europe, we more or less have a lot of rules in all the countries, data security and stuff like that. But in Germany, they really take care that it's super strictly applied. And for me, there has to be a balance. And governmental institutes should be service institutes for the entrepreneur, and not the other way around. You shouldn't be scared of stuff. Germany, you are always scared that you are half in jail because you missed a rule. And again, the big companies, for the data security guidelines of the European Union, they just employ 10 lawyers and they are taking care. I cannot employ a lawyer for that. I need to pay a lawyer bunch of €1,000 a year to take care of that stuff. So that's kind of, and Cyprus is more relaxed. I think most of the countries are more relaxed. They are more friendly to entrepreneurs because they know we make jobs, we pay money, we are really important part of the, and I think this is a historical thing in Germany because of in the early 20th century, the left part was really strong, all the employees, all the workers. So we got really strong, I think it's unities and law, and a really, really strong social system. I think 50% of the people in Germany are either working for the government or working so close to the government that they are actually paid by the government. So only 50% are actually paying taxes to pay all the other 50%. So that's kind of the shift. You can like the system, or you can say it's too much. When you rather somebody who's bringing something to the society, who's working a lot and entrepreneurs, it's not so nice. So that's kind of, do we look at US? There it's totally different, but do we want a system like that in Europe? Maybe also not. So it's kind of nice knowing if I'm unemployed tomorrow, even in Cyprus, I can go there and I get money. And it's not super less. It's kind of okay. If I'm with not super much money, I have health insurance. Any one of us has. That's kind of nice, but it needs to be balanced. In Germany, it's went totally the other way. It's not entrepreneur friendly anymore. And yeah, that's kind of maybe one more thing to the international tax situation. That's why all this mixture for me is Cyprus the best in Europe. Maybe Estonia, if you like to live in Estonia. Ireland, Malta is also kind of
the weather is
easier.
Take.
Yeah, it depends what weather you like. Easier setup. And then Dubai for sure, because it's just 9% taxes, but really big threshold and stuff like that. It's way more expensive. I say my take is something, if you're between 60 to 100K in profit, Cyprus is cheaper in the total look. Above 100K, Dubai is cheaper. And Malta to Cyprus, Malta is above 200K in profit, cheaper. But that's only the numbers. The first thing is you have to like it there, and you really have to like the weather in Dubai, which is even hotter, and you have to agree with the system. That you kind of is, we're in Cyprus, I can say that, it's a dictatorship. If they don't like what you're doing, you have a problem. In Cyprus, I compare it. Cyprus is half Wild West, half European regulation. And that's kind of a nice mix for me personally, but it's a personal question. And right now, Dubai is too close to Iran, so that's the other thing.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of businesses, like any kind of business can do this? Like if a restaurant, for example, they have profits, like can they do something like that, or it needs to be more like digital kind of business?
Depends. It needs to be digital, and it's all about the value chain. Where is the value created? When you're a restaurant chain like Starbucks, it's easy because the brand, the system, it's a franchise as far as I know. The franchise know-how. You could build that, for example, in Cyprus and say, okay, we do German bratwurst, and as far as I know, there's no franchise chain yet. We develop it in Cyprus, and then we search for franchisees in Germany and give them the license. Then the profits are coming to Cyprus. That's kind of legal. That's what Apple is doing. And that's why they are even having a lot of stuff in Bahamas, because they kind of have their IP, it's super complicated, structured around Bahamas and stuff like that. So the brand, at least for outside of US, is in Bahamas, and then they say, okay, all revenue worldwide, 5%, always to Bahamas. And yeah, nice, having 0% tax there. That's kind of the businesses, but the most of them is service provider and e-commerce and maybe a little bit SaaS. So they are also able to move. And yeah, for sure, if you're a barber, it's just the barber shop is not able to relocate. Just the restaurant is not able to relocate, but a system, an IP behind is possible.
Like if you make a brand, for example, out of a barber shop. Okay, nice. Well, you mentioned before about like Germany making it more difficult for entrepreneurs to grow where they feel like, they are scared. And if you take Europe in general, do you think, is this like, are we moving towards a more progressive, or do you think the whole Europe is going to become slowly more like, Germany, like?
Yes, second one. Also, again, there's pros and cons. With AI, it's hard. We're losing. And I see it as implementing AI in my company is not easy because we are having very sensible data. And especially, for example, on traffic, I think they changed something now, but you have to make 100% sure that the data is not leaving Europe. Otherwise, you're not allowed to use the tools. And to some extent, even not leaving Germany. In US, nobody's taking care. Likely, most of the tax advisor, okay, Claude or Cowork or all data, yes. I can do that. So it's kind of, it's good for the clients to be sure that the data is not in some AI, server center in the US. It's harder for me to implement it fast. So it's kind of, there are rules which are nice. There are rules which are too much. And I think right now it's too much. I don't know. I think as the way you ask the question, you're kind of having a similar impression.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like slowly, especially with data, these kind of things, they are coming to Cyprus as well. So like more regulation around how the data is being used. Obviously, like we all know, like it's a lot slower, like Cyprus is a lot behind on many things when it comes to this stuff. So.
Or look at the transparency register. That all your company data has to be in one European register. It's already in the national registers. We already have company houses, company registers. Fucking data is there. But now we have to put it in a second system, also in Cyprus. It costs 100 euros again a year. Why? That's too much because you already have the data. It's kind of... But I know the saying that in Cyprus you have rules for everything, but nobody's really taking care about the rules.
No, I think they care when the time comes to care. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my take on this, because others told me, like, I even have an argument with my wife about this. She's like, "Oh, no one cares."
Yeah. But I think from a German perspective, from a EU perspective, the next few years we will see more regulation. It's more going to protectism, make it because it's super hard as an entrepreneur leaving Germany. Because I kind of described the system, how it's actually working. But when you are having in Germany, for example, easy example is you have a good running app on the iPhone, and you're making 100K of revenue a month, 50K of profit. I would buy this app. I would pay you, I don't know, 2 million for the app. If it's in the German company. And then you just move to Cyprus, take it out of the German company. It's a immaterial property right. It's normally it's not even somewhere listed in the property of the company. On the balance sheet, it's not seen. So you actually can just take it, put it in a Cyprus Limited, and just go to the app store and change payment data from a German company bank account to a Cyprus company. Nobody really would see it. But the app is worth 2 million. I made you an explicit offer, I give you 2 million. And 1 year later you think, hey, there's this guy who wants to pay me 1 million, I call him. And yes, sure, still give you 2 million. So I give you 2 million and you tax it 15% in Cyprus. Germany is losing the tax right. And there is fully the rules, profit shifting, profit relocation. It's called BEPS on OECD level. That this is taxed as a fictive sale. So you have to tax the 2 million when you switch it to Cyprus. The main question is, do you have something which is worth money? Because most of if you're a one-man entrepreneur or one-man service provider, IT consultant or something like that, there is nothing. But other companies obviously have it. And this rules is, for example, they were actually made, for example, when BMW said, oh, producing cars in Germany is super expensive, we shifted to Romania. And this is the same thing. And if they say, okay, this relocation is worth 100 million, they pay tax on 100 million. So to have this connection, that's what I'm actually doing. Because doing the relocation is easy on a fact basis. Avoiding or reducing the taxes, this is the super hard part. And that's kind of in Cyprus, you don't have those hard rules. So once you're out of a high-tax country like Germany, France, Spain, you're kind of half free. Leaving Cyprus is way easier because on company level, we have the rules, but then it's at least only 15%, not 45% in tax. On private level, we don't even have the rules.
Do you know of any like difficult case that you have? You know, like something that, you know, like it wasn't for the easy ones to actually go and solve in regards with...
All my cases are difficult.
All of them.
Otherwise, you are not needing a high-skilled tax advisor. Okay. Like, I have a company. I think they're making 30 million in revenue, like 3 to 5 million in profit. So this company obviously is worth around 20 to 30 million. And it's a corporation, like a limited GmbH. And if you're just going to Cyprus, or if he sells the company, he's paying, because it's 2 levels, it's on the private level. If he sells the company, he's paying 25%. And the company itself is paying 30%. That's how the 45 is coming. And if he's going to Cyprus, the double tax treaty will say, okay, from now on, Cyprus is allowed to tax this sale. Cyprus is not taxing it. That's why Cyprus is nice. But because in this step, Germany is losing the taxation right. And he would have to pay, with 20 million in value, 5 million in taxes without getting any money. That's kind of, the rule is there in Germany. It's in whole Europe, and it will go to the European court because the ruling is too hard. Because he has to pay money without getting money. It's okay if he pays money when he's actually selling. That's just to be said. But by now the law is too hard. That's what I mean. Too much regulation. Fair is that he has to pay, but not now, but later when he's really selling. To avoid this, we are doing restructurings. So we're putting a personal company above it, and then Germany is not losing the taxation right. He can move, and then it gets interesting because then the magic happens. Then I can put two companies, corporation and a personal company, and above this, I put Cyprus Limited. And then is the very nice thing that we have the European Union and we have European foundation rights. And one of it says it must be allowed that he's putting the shares of the personal company into the Cyprus Limited without having to be taxed. When he's doing that outside of Europe, he has to pay taxes. Inside Europe, not. And now we have the funny structure that in Germany, it's kind of the personal company is taxed like a corporation. So when we pay dividends from the corporation, normally it's 25% in Germany. But it's now kind of the shares, or it's actually going to a Cyprus Limited, it's only 1.5%.
You drop it even.
And from the Cyprus Limited, on his personal level, the fourth step is zero tax in Cyprus. So we save him 25% of taxes, 5 million in profit every year.
Nice.
It's kind of one of the very, very few loopholes in international taxation. And Germany wouldn't allow that, but it has to because of the European Union foundation rights, basic rights. And yeah, that's kind of when the job is making fun.
That's interesting.
But it's super. There's super many small details. We need a really good lawyer in Cyprus who's supporting us what we're doing in Germany, and we are asking for 2 rulings from the German tax department. So it needs 1.5 years to make all the setup. But in the end, you're saving so much taxes. You can build stuff, but it's only possible because he needs substance in Germany. He needs a lot of employees, so it's only for bigger companies. And that's why I say small companies move totally, don't make such complex things. Yeah. And sometimes we are even working with trusts, or it's called Stiftung, because then it's getting super complicated because you have to have those international trusts. In Cyprus, you have trusts, but you have the trust, and you always have to compare it to the country you're living in. When you're moving to Spain, Spain is not accepting any trusts. Germany is accepting. Germany is accepting trusts from Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, and Germany itself, but not some Nevis Trust, Panama Trust, Cyprus Trust. And Cyprus is accepting more because it's closer to the UK-US law. So if you start playing with those things, then you can do even more, especially on wealth prevention. That it's kind of because you detect your wealth from your personal level, you put it on a trust, and if you go bankrupt, the trust will not be affected. That's why it often makes sense, such structures, but then it's getting really complicated and you have to compare more countries. That's kind of the really international game for the really wealthy people. But then you also... if you know the game, you understand why the super rich, 100 million and more, are paying so less money because it's actually not owing. They are actually not owing it anymore. It's kind of in trust setups and Stiftung setups and stuff like that.
I see. Nice. So you mentioned about finding a lawyer. How do you find it working with people in Cyprus? Different?
Depending on which level. When the tax advisor and lawyer I'm working with is kind of easy working. They are responding fast. They are giving me clear answers. Well, maybe I'm understanding stuff. Maybe they know that I understand stuff and I'm sending them clients, so they want me to be happy. with this kind of level of people, it's easy. With governmental stuff, I sometimes compare often. Also, a little bit from the mindset. I hope our Cyprus people listening to us are not getting a little angry with me. But it's more like the mindset is often a little bit like the 1890s or like 20 years ago. So there's a lot of paper involved. There's a lot of waiting involved. You have to go there. It's or let's say that it's please always go there, because trying to call somebody is hard. Sending an email is, but maybe there's a black hole in Cyprus where all the emails to government is just going and nobody is actually really receiving them. Yeah. Maybe that's the case. So it's but if you go and meet people, Cyprus people are really nice. Really, everyone wants to help you, and that's kind of also a different mindset thing. It's kind of 20 years back from some mindset things, but it's also more relaxed, more nice. I think if you're driving a car, you see it every day. Cyprus people are, in my opinion, not the best car driver. They are kind of racing. They are, I don't know. I don't know how people are actually driving, because in one hand they have their phone, in the other one they have the Ferrero Espresso. There's no hand left for the wheel. That's how they drive. And then they go 80 through the city. And then they're wondering why because there's really a lot of crashes, not big ones, but bumping into each other. And then one or twice a year I see cars lying on the wrong side. In middle of the city. How do we manage that? It's kind of crazy. But on the other thing, if you come from the side of the street and you want to go into the street, but you have to wait, there's always somebody letting you. And that's different in Germany. In Germany, people follow the rules because police is controlling everything. In Germany, if you go over a red light, you're losing your driver's license for 1 month. And they have controls everywhere. In Cyprus, they now started, but you know where the places are. So when I go to Germany, I have to remind myself, don't drive over red light. In Cyprus, after being here a few years, there's nobody coming, let's go. But because of the German people are really sticking to the rules, if you are in a position of waiting, you wait for hours. Because nobody's letting you in. That's kind of and that's what, for me, kind of also coming back to bureaucracy, coming back to rules. You don't need for any small detail rule and also a penalty. That's the thing with rules. Any rule in Germany is penalized, because otherwise nobody would take care of the rule, as long as people try to get along with each other. And that's what I see more here. That less rules, but we're getting along with each other. Sometimes I'm kind of annoyed of those super noisy small motorbikes. In Germany we have rules that's not allowed. Within 1 week this motorbike wouldn't have a driving license anymore. But if you have a rule for that one, the next thing would be that they control more the speed. The next thing would be that they control more whatever stuff, like we have where you're parking and all those stuff. And I say, okay, I rather accept the noisy cars driving around at 2 a.m, but having no rules for all the other stuff. I don't want rules. Yeah. And otherwise it's cigar. Yeah. So you have to wait a little bit more. Yeah.
When did you first come to Cyprus? First visit to Cyprus, when was it?
This was, I think, 1990.
1990?
No, I've been in Larnaca on vacation with my parents.
Okay,
it was maybe 1968 or something. 98. I've been 12, I think. I've been in Larnaca in some hotel.
Okay.
But now in 2019.
2019 you came. How did you find Cyprus from because of your profession and you knew Cyprus, or was it because you were traveling, Thailand, things like that, and then
both. I had clients in Cyprus, so I did know Cyprus is a thing for the tax rules. For expats, for us, they just started in 2017. Before that, Cyprus wasn't tax heaven for us. And so 2017, nobody did know. 2018, people started to make marketing. And in 2018, it started that people are coming. So 2019, I already had 3-4 clients in Cyprus. So I said, why not have a look? And then we liked it so much. In May, in 2019, we came the first time. Met people, Larnaca, Paphos, liked Paphos more. September 2019, we moved.
Okay. What were your first impressions when you came to Cyprus? Like, not work related, but Cyprus related.
It's a good question. I think it's really about the people you meet. And we've been to the co-working space in Paphos, Hücke. By then, it was the only co-working space in Cyprus. And we met so many nice people. And yeah, that's kind of the main decision which made us moving here. And rents were pretty cheap by then. I think we paid for a 2-bedroom apartment, shared pool, sea view, furnished, 600 euros. Now it's double.
Yes.
And so it kind of was a nice deal. Paphos was so quiet 2019.
Yeah.
And since 21, 22 changed so much.
Yeah.
I think 22 was the year when the rents were exploding, kind of doubled within 2 years. And now they are building like crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's super crazy for somebody growing up here, right?
Yeah, well,
So
especially for the rent, I know, like rent used to be like 250 euros at some point, like now you won't find a parking spot for 200. No, I think you will find actually.
They just started taking money for parking 3-4 years ago. Before the governmental parking was free.
Yeah. So, actually, I think you, like now there are a lot of people from Germany moving over here, but back then it wasn't that many, right? So
it wasn't so many people moving here. And I think it's just so many people from Germany because, compared to countries like Spain, France, we speak English and we have not the best weather. That's kind of for all the people moving here, Eastern Europe, Scandinavian, UK. It's not the best weather compared to 12 months. And we are just many because it's with the Austrians, it's just almost 100 million people. So it feels a lot.
Yes.
If let's say 0.001% of Polish people are coming and German people, Germans are 10 times more.
Yeah.
I think that's why the impression is so big. And maybe it's kind of a thing right now that people are coming. I think, the Germans are coming to Paphos and Pea. Maybe also Larnaca and what is it, Paralimni? But we are not going to Limassol. Limassol is more for the Ukrainians, Russians, I don't know, Israeli maybe. And that's kind of, but it's a lot. I'm with you.
Do you, like, for example, suggest not to customers but to your friends to move, like say, like Cyprus is a good place to move and come live here, or only if the opportunity allows?
I think it's the best place to go in Europe because for entrepreneurs, it has everything because, for example, language. We're talking in English now because your English is perfect. And if you go to other countries, it's harder with English. And especially with governmental stuff. We have a lot of, if you go to Italy or Spain, I would only recommend it if you speak the language. Otherwise, you need a translator. You're getting crazy. Yeah. And so that's kind of maybe Malta is also really nice if you like it. And Dubai and Estonia and stuff like that. You also get along in Bulgaria and stuff like that. Bansko in Bulgaria is super famous. But here you even have the sea, you have to, there's everything you need. And it's kind of always about the people, right? And if you go to Crete, you can move to Crete. It's not tax-wise, and maybe if you're a pensioner, because then it's interesting again. But there's no community. You want like-minded people. You want entrepreneurs. You want kind of also the offerings. I mean, the offers regarding sports changed so much. There's opening a gym every year. There is kind of yoga. There's kind of other gatherings and stuff like that. You don't find it at some places where this community not is. So it's pros and cons. It's for me right now. It's totally enough. There don't need to become more people. Seriously, the infrastructure is on the limit. It's not like Limassol where you always have traffic jam, but it's becoming like that.
Yeah.
3 years ago, never traffic jam in Paphos. Now, especially in the morning, there's traffic jam. So but that's the thing. If you like a place, a lot more people like the places. You have that in Asia, you have that in Americas and stuff like that. If there's places in Thailand or Bali or something like that, it's crazy. You don't need to go there anymore. It's crazy. Millions of people going there. We will see what Paphos will be in. Yeah, that's kind of it's a thing to think about, especially when we come back to rent, especially for the locals. By now, locals like people coming here. But did you hear the stuff about Lisbon?
No.
And because in Lisbon is also super, super famous for entrepreneurs moving there. And I think 2 years, they changed it. It's not so interesting anymore. But 2 years ago, especially cryptocurrency and stuff like that was tax-wise super relaxed. So a lot of crypto bros moved to Lisbon. And they really got mad because the locals really had to move far out on Lisbon because they couldn't afford the rent anymore because in the center only expats are living. Or go to Mallorca. It's the same. It's at one point it's tipping. And I don't see it in Cyprus yet. But when you know what pensioner people earning, what the minimum wage is, I think not everyone here is farmer or has farmers in the family who had some properties directly at the sea, which were 20 years ago just a few stones and fig trees, and now they get millions. I don't know. It's only a small part of the people who got super rich because of that. Imagine that in Peja. Peja is just a little town on the kind of far up the hill, and nothing before that. 10 kilometers down the sea, there was no house. Now it's fully built up. If you're a farmer down there and you had some kind of farmland, you're super, super rich now. The question is how long you keep the money. I heard also stories that people are kind of spending it within 20 years and then are broke again. But that's the thing is, and then I don't know how the situation is in Paphos further back. If the rent prices are even changing in these older parts, but living by the sea, living in a new built houses, paying 2,000-3,000 euros of rent, who can afford it? That's not so many people. That's the entrepreneurs, that's the expats, that's the wealthy Cyprus people, but that's not so many. And I don't know. That you closer to that. Do you think people will change their mind on foreigner people coming here?
I think from the groups that I am in on Facebook and things like that, I do see a lot of people like complaining, they have nowhere to live, and things like that. I think in Limassol, it's way past that point now. So like mainly in Limassol are the posts that I see. I do see some in Paphos as well now recently. And I also think, like based, if you compare the salary here that people are getting, and if you look the rents and, what they usually say, like 1/3 of your salary is okay if it goes to rent, but now it's not that. Like you give maybe like 4/5 of your rent of your salary to rent, So
and then is there most of the new build stuff is sold to people outside of Europe.
Yes,
I think they are not allowed to rent it out, so it's empty. The nice things are empty. I think they changed because of the VAT. They changed it now from 5% to 19%. I think because of that, so that it doesn't make a difference anymore if you're not renting out or if you're renting out. So, government is seeing it, but government is also, some people are profiting from the building boom. But it starts, and I think when you have a look at it, and the Paphos is small, there is it kind of needs to start that you kind of have to rent out your place if you're not here for the whole year or stuff like that. Rules of that make a certain that's kind of what a lot of people, even in my bubble are considered because we only get a contract for 1 year. So if I pay now 2,000 euros in rent, I'm not sure, and I want to really stay in that place. I'm not sure if my landlord is raising it to 3,000 next year. I don't have any security regarding that. So that it's kind of for anyone it's an issue.
Yeah. Do you think it's best to buy here or to rent, or depends on?
I think this for locals.
No,
I think that's because the problem is not so big yet, because I think the rate of land homeowners is pretty high in Cyprus. So you're not so affected by a rent raise. As an expat, I think the market is really hard to understand. It depends of all the people outside Europe. It depends of the tourism, and it depends of the expat coming here. And if they change any of the rules, if they cancel the non-dom, which I think they now made a change, and it's for at least 4 or 5 years, it's sure, but they could change and say, as of 2028, no non-dom anymore. Then it's not super attractive for Europeans coming to Cyprus anymore. And I think that's kind of the main risk is if they change I'm not sure how exactly I think you're not getting a passport so easy anymore, but you're getting, as non-European, you're getting the right to
PR, I think.
Yeah, PR, again, permanent resident. Yeah. That's it. You have to invest. And Cyprus wants to be in Schengen. Actually, they already should be in Schengen. I don't know what's happening in the government stuff. But then all the people with PR are in Schengen, can move freely in Europe. Many European countries don't want that. So maybe Schengen, yes, but then PR system cancelled. Then all the developer or the houses which kind of are only made for that have to stop doing that. So get bankrupt, don't sell their stuff, lose their employees and stuff like that. So there's so many risks in this area, also chances. So I'm a risk-averse person. I would buy if it's for sure also a tourism place. But even that, it's kind of, and the market is so heated up. So the prices are pretty high, and then can you really trust all the developers that it's good quality? So it's hard. So by now, and the main thing is, in Germany you can buy property and only sometimes you can finance 100%. You only have to pay for the side costs, which is around 10-12%. And in Cyprus, you have to finance. Can only finance 40-50%. So if you buy a house for 600k, you have to have 300k. Yeah. So you have to have that money, and you have to be willing to put it in one house.
Yeah.
And
I see. So last question, and we have done.
Thank you.
Yes. What are your near future plans, work-wise? What do you have? Any aspirations? Any goals, targets?
Yes. With a good friend, he's coach for entrepreneurs being more happy. We started a podcast in this very studio, so super happy that you have your studio. And both of us had the calling that we are both working remote and that we want more interaction with real people. And the podcast is the first step. And if it gets successful, we will see what will happen. Maybe we do some kind of retreats locally in Cyprus. Maybe we build a small business in Cyprus. Maybe I'm opening an office even with my current business and stuff like that. That's the main change. I want to be more with the people, less with the computer, and doing it more holistic. I talked a lot of stuff about, and it's actually, I'm seeing it as a wheel for the company: strategy, HR, recruiting, marketing, sales, and then the fulfillment, doing the actual work. And the same applies to your personal life. You have your body, your health, you have your mind, learning stuff, you have your soul, your heart, being happy, you have your relationships, you have your finance, and you have your professional, your company. And combining this, because it's as soon as you start working on yourself as entrepreneur, it's always on the personal level. When you want to be a better leader, it's on the personal level. When you want to be a better sales guy, it's on the personal level. So it's so close connected and going more a holistic approach. And there's three main, it's a long answer to a short question. Mm-hmm. There's three main questions you have to ask yourself in your life. Who am I living with? Your wife, your kids, your family and stuff like that. How am I earning my money? And where do I want to live? And moving abroad is the third question. Mm-hmm. Maybe even the other two sometimes. And using this as moving abroad, immigrating somewhere else, as a moment in your life to really say, okay, I zoom out and I have a look at everything which is affecting my life. Am I happy what I'm doing? How my company is working? Some entrepreneurs are having a local office in Germany and now they are going fully remote. It's a big shift. You're moving abroad and you leave back your friends, searching for new friends. You're starting a new hobby and stuff like that. So it's kind of a time where you can really say, okay, it's a good opportunity to really have a look at my life and make adjustments. And that's what our podcast is about. Mm-hmm. And that's what we are happy to support entrepreneurs on the full scale, providing the full, maybe reorientation, new orientation. Nice. Really checking in and asking what do I really, really want from life, and not being in the daily wheel and not, forgetting to ask the question. And after 20 years looking back and say, oh, why did I do this? Why didn't I go another way, which is more connected to my heart and what I really want from life?
Nice. I wholeheartedly wish you all this, so to have a successful launch to your podcast and anything you desire. Sure. Thank you very much for coming to this podcast and sharing your knowledge. Very, very interesting conversation. I really liked it. I didn't expect it will go this much time.
It was quite long, but I always say if you listen to a podcast, if you go to some kind of coaching, or if you go to some kind of read, if there's one thing you understood, you take with you and you apply in your life, in your company, it was worth it. Yeah. So thank you for listening.
Nice. Thank you very much, Michael.